I'm Isaac Kodsi, and I moved to Florida when I was 12 years old. And my father and two of my uncles became real estate developers in the late 70s. The family, myself, my brother, my cousins, we all grew up in the real estate industry. Today, all of us are in the industry, right? So my brother here in Miami is a big developer. My cousins are from lenders to also developers to interior designers. And myself, I became an attorney 30 years ago. So I was practicing real estate law for the beginning of my career. And over time, I slowly transitioned into the financial aspect of real estate. And then I got into the real estate development. My strength in real estate development really has been working with value-add kind of projects or projects that potentially were in financial instability and needed sort of fresh eyes, fresh capital to take it out of, to help them, solve its problem, right? And Arbor is one of those examples. So Arbor is a great project here in Coconut Grove. It started with another developer. Unfortunately, it did run into some financial difficulties, and that was really sort of my opportunity to step in and see if I could help the project, move the project along, and take it from its unfortunate situation. In addition to that, coincidentally, I live in Coconut Grove. I've been a Coconut Grove resident now for almost 5 years. Absolutely love the Grove. I think it's a great neighborhood in Miami. It's actually one of the older neighborhoods of Miami here, probably back in the early 1900s, in light of being close to the bay, also being one of the highest points in Florida, not only in Miami, but because we have the bluff, we are higher. It's one of the higher spots in Florida above sea level. So it sits on an archaeological bluff or ridge that's being protected. And that's actually extremely important, right? For flooding purposes, as an example. So Coconut Grove really will not flood in light of its height above sea level. But anyway, back to Arbor. So Arbor is a project here in Coconut Grove, close to my house. I had the opportunity, it was presented to me to see if there was anything that I could do with this project. And unfortunately, the project was in the middle of a foreclosure action. There were almost 95% of the project was sold out. Buyers, there were 43 buyers in this project that were on the cusp of losing their deposits in the project in light of the foreclosure action. When I was presented this project with this potential opportunity, I really looked at it from all angles. And one of the angles to me was, how do we protect and salvage the project, but also the buyers and the buyers' deposits? It is very standard in business that when a project is in foreclosure or is in the midst of failure, the buyers are usually the last ones on the totem pole and are the first ones to lose their money, right? And that was not something I was prepared to do or cared to do. So when I did buy the project, we bought the project, the first thing I did was go into, how do we protect the former buyer? And my instructions right away to my attorney was reach out and contact all the other attorneys involved in this matter and speak to them and tell them that not to worry, and that number one goal for us was to refund every single buyer 100% of their deposit, right? So I didn't ask for any discounts. There were no discounts given. In addition to returning their deposits, any buyers that's upgraded their units or bought something for the benefit of their unit was also refunded for that money. We kept it. We kept whatever we bought, and we are, planning to, finish their units as originally designed by the former buyer. That to me was probably, biggest success in this project, was really being able to get the cooperation and the agreement by all the buyers, also all their lawyers, to not litigate, right? To not cite this out in court, but to come to a very quick resolution. And I would like to say that within 4 to 5 months from contacting the buyers and their lawyers, we had them all settled, all paid off, and all of their money was returned. And what's also important about that is that wasn't in the media, right? So this story was not told in the media, right? It wasn't, unfortunately, like other developers that have done poorly and they're all over the paper and bad for them. But really, at the end of the day, what's really bad is the buyers who are going to lose out, right? So in this case, that was a big priority for me to like I said, reimburse everybody or refund all the buyers. What that also did allow me to do by refunding all the buyers and taking me out of litigation or taking me out of the court system, it allowed me now to start moving the project forward. So right after we bought the project, after I refunded all the buyers, I also paid all of the subcontractors money that was owed to them, and I retained them. So today, I've retained the same general contractor that had started the project. All of his subcontractors have remained on the project, or at least a majority of them have remained on the project, have all come back to work, and moving this project forward. To describe Arbor for you and how it fits here in Coconut Grove, it has a couple of interesting features. So first of all, it's not a big building, right? It's only a 5-story building. It only has 45 residences. And I find that to be super important because it's nice to, for certain people, it's nice to live in a large project or a large condominium project on the ocean or here on the bay. But there are some people that prefer the smaller boutique, sort of chic kind of building, with buildings that are just too ostentatious or just offering just too much and just, it creates too much of a blur, right? I find Arbor to be what I would call perhaps like a casual chic, something that is elegant, it's luxurious, but it's just not over the top, right? It's understated. That's what I was looking for. It's an understated kind of project, but when you walk in that it exudes luxury, it really exudes comfort, right? It's a place that you want to feel that you're at home. One thing I find extremely important about the building, probably one of the most unique features of the building, is really the design of the units. So 40% of my units are 2-story units, right? Those are, to me, it's more of a home, right? These are not small apartments. 50% of the building are 3 bedrooms and larger. So these are not really, I wouldn't call these apartments. I would really call these homes, right? These are big, spacious units or residences that afford the homeowner a place to live, right? It's not just for investment purposes, or it's not just a place for the summers or winters. It's really a place to live here and reside 12 months of the year and really enjoy it as your home. And I find that to be actually very important. The buyers that we are seeing that are coming or that are attracted to this project are locals. A fair amount of the people that are buying are locals, people that are downsizing from a larger home here in Coconut Grove, looking to still stay in the Grove, be part of this community, be part of this neighborhood, but just don't need the space any longer now that their kids have moved out. Also, we are seeing some younger families buying, but honestly, the majority today of the buyers that I'm seeing are, they wouldn't be really call them second homes. I would really just call them more new permanent homes where they can enjoy what the Grove has to offer. And the Grove has a lot to offer. First of all, its proximity in the city of Miami. You are minutes from the 95, you're minutes from US 1. You're able to really be able to go from somewhat as far as Coral Gables or even Pinecrest if you need to go south. But you could be in downtown within 10 to 15 minutes. You could be in South Beach within 15 to 20 minute. And these are comfortable drives. So the location itself is just prime. Forget that it's on the bay, on Biscayne Bay, so the views are spectacular. But the city itself, or the village itself, has a lot to offer. In addition to many parks where they're extremely walkable, a lot of physical activities, things whether it's biking path, play tennis. There's a tennis center walking distance from Arbor. If you're now at the pickleball, there's a pickleball courts, walking distance from Arbor. If you want to eat, you want to drink, you want to work out, you want to watch a movie, everything is walkable. And I don't mean walkable like a long walk. I'm saying 5 minutes or under. Some of the restaurants here, in my viewpoint, every month it looks like a new restaurant is opening up here in Coconut Grove. It really is going through another renaissance or resurgence here in the city of Miami. And I'm very happy and proud to be part of that resurgence by bringing Arbor to this community. As to the project itself, what's really cool about the project that I find cool, it has, for such a small project, it really has many amenities. So it has the standard amenities, obviously, having a gym, having a pool, but the additional amenities that we added that I find extremely important, probably my favorite part of the building, of the project, is that we have a social lounge in the lobby area. And the reason for that design, we made it cozy, we made it comfortable. And my personal goal was really to create an area where, you could wake up in the morning, you could have your coffee by yourself if you want in your apartment or your house, but why not come downstairs, meet your neighbors, sit down, have a coffee with them in the morning, have a little chat, see what's going on, whether it's about politics, whether it's about what's happening here locally in the Grove, and then, go on your day. So I find that to be something I find really, really important. And the second feature that I find that I personally can't wait to enjoy, even as a developer, is the bar upstairs. So we did design a rooftop bar for the residents. And the purpose of that bar was, again, to enjoy sunsets, to enjoy the views. It's totally shaded. It has great views of all of Coconut Grove. So in light of that, we're in a part of the Grove that is, all low-rise buildings. There's nothing obstructing your view from the rooftop. And you could literally see all the way to downtown Miami, and you can see all the way down to Pinecrest. So, and also Coral Gables. So you have absolutely 360-degree views of this beautiful city from the rooftop. And, again, nothing's better than having a drink and watching the sunset. I mean, personally, I probably would smoke a cigar up there if the residents don't object. So those to me are probably some of the coolest, not coolest features, but the features that I really find that the residents will use on, not once in a while, but on a daily basis. I really find that that's a place that they can really enjoy. In addition, like I said, we do have a multi-purpose room, so people want to have a party, they can have it. A large pool deck. So it's not just the pool, but a large deck where, if you have kids, they can run around and have lunch if you want out there. And again, and always with the sun, the building was designed well, where the pool doesn't lose the sun at any time. There will be sun on the pool deck 24 hours a day. A lot of condos today, unfortunately, when they get designed, they're put on the pool is put on one side of the project or the other side of the building. And unfortunately, depending on the time of the day, it gets shaded by the building. Here, the building is designed where the pool will have sun 24 hours. So I find that also very, I've mentioned it before, but walkability, right? So what is so important today, the residents, right, is that it is walkable. And that's probably a feature that I find that is evolving today as Miami becomes a walking city, becomes more urbanized. The city's being built today in communities, just like New York was built in community, right? It had its Soho, it had the Meatpacking District, Upper East Side, Lower East Side, West Side, Midtown. Miami's doing the exact same thing. We've got Wynwood, Miami Design District, Midtown, Edgewater, and then we have Coral Gables, Pinecrest, and Coconut Grove. You have downtown Doral. So all these areas had to design and build their downtowns. Coconut Grove has had the village for over 100 years, right? This has been here. It's a landmark to Miami. So to be that close to such a landmark is important. And I say walkable because I mean it, right? Meaning that you really don't need a bicycle. Like some areas you need a bicycle, to get around. Here, a bicycle is, it'll just take up too much of your time. It's easier just to walk everywhere and don't have to worry about your bicycle, right? I mean, we are right behind CocoWalk, which is just the center of Coconut Grove Village. Also the name of the project is called Arbor Residences. And if you know about the Coconut Grove itself, it's sort of like a mini jungle, I would probably call it, right? A tropical jungle, a tropical beauty actually, right? So we have some really beautiful species of trees all through Coconut Grove. And that's something that attracts both local residences and residences that come down and visit the Grove are just absolutely amazed, astonished, impressed by just the greenery of the Grove, right? So that's why the name of the project was called Arbor. And as part of that, there are many locations within the project that we are going to be planting, obviously, trees and plants and flowers. And my goal here is to really bring some of the prettier native trees or specimens that obviously can withstand the weather and the temperatures in Florida, but bringing them to the project, right? So I do plan to not only provide all the amenity, but put as much greenery as we can within the project So at all times, the residents feel like they're in a tropical landscape kind of wonderland. And part of as myself here, being a resident of Coconut Grove, I am part of a nonprofit called Bayshore in the Grove. And part of our mission is really about sustainability and resiliency and, being on top of the city of Miami when it comes to their projects such as improving or expanding Bayshore Drive and being sure that they don't compromise and, remove any trees that have been here for hundreds of years, right? There's trees here that have been here prior to the city, being incorporated. So that's something that I do find extremely important. When I started obviously when I opened up the project earlier this year for sales, I retained the services of Cervera Real Estate. Again, a long-standing company that's been here probably 50, 60 years, maybe longer. Long-standing roots here in the city. They've really been part of the success of the city of Miami and many projects here. So when I brought them because they also know the Grove very well, and I wanted to bring somebody with respectability and people that are very competent in their job. When we did sit down and we looked at, who we were going to target as our residents, very clear on our point that this project and this building was really going to be for the locals, right? So we do have some buyers from the Northeast, for instance, out of the country. But I am going to tell you that the majority of the buyers are local people, residences that have been in the Grove, that are coming to buy here because they want to stay in the Grove, or people somewhere else within the city of Miami who just want to come to a place that's a little bit quieter, a little bit more quaint, a little bit more really a neighborhood, right? It's not a community that's being built or created. These are people that have been here now for decades, people that have grown with Miami, lived in Miami, and want to enjoy Miami. And I really do believe that the project is going to end up being with a lot of people locally that are not going to be creating a community, but are from the established neighborhood. And I find that to be very important.